holidays, everybody. I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know you were going to ask me, but I hope you had just as much of a good time as I did. We're going to be talking this week about the employment numbers because for now they're still maintaining, they're still increasing, not by the same rate as they had, but that we've seen, and I know you've seen corporate layoffs in all the businesses, tech industry, mortgage industry, and many others. So how is that going to affect the housing market? And we're going to be talking about that a little bit more. We're also going to be talking about little bit of something, because I keep like having this come up, is the silver tsunami, and that is related to baby boomers not selling their house. And one aspect of it that people aren't considering about that particular group of people, because many generations like to villainize other generations and say, well, they're hoarding all the wealth, but I don't think it necessarily is that. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit more too. So in the meantime, I want to introduce you, like, before we have a guest, but she is putting away some pottery. I kind of invited her at last minute, so I want to be thankful for her. It's going to be Susanna Haney out of Colorado Springs. But the reason I'm a little frantic right now is because not even an hour ago, I decided to adopt a kitten. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I decided to adopt a kitten. So I'm going to show you my kitten really quick. There he is. His name is Atlas, and he's a 4-month-old kitten. We bought a kitten for our cat because our cat needed a friend. And now the kitten and the cat are chasing each other around the house, and they've already become instant friends. Best decision I ever made. I was a little leery at first. Kitten jumps over the gate and is now friends with the cat. So the kitten and the cat needed a kitten, and now they're best friends. So I'm very happy to have Atlas as part of our family. And he is a love bug. He was all up. I mean, I had to get him. He was all up in my grill. He was just, oof. And I couldn't, and he's like, we have to go. And I'm like, yeah, but I need this kitten. Like, I started crying in the car because this cat is just so loving. And I'm not a kitten person, but this kitten is already stole my heart. so anyways, yeah, that is Eddie in there. And he was like, oh, I don't want to show his picture because I don't like showing my face. But I married a good looking guy. I don't know why he doesn't want to show himself off. That was important. You got to marry somebody good looking. That way you have beautiful children. Anyways, all right, let's get into the first article about the unemployment numbers. So Eddie's going to go ahead and pull that up for us today. It's like your grandbaby. It is. You're right, Debbie. I like that somebody said Eddie's so cute. That is so funny. He is cute. He is cute. All right, look, the unemployment numbers are way they're not even that bad. 3.7. There's 6.1 million people that are unemployed. Total unemployment people, and there's 1.5 increase in insurance claims. I will say this when it comes to unemployment numbers, and this always happens, is that they never count for the people that have just literally just stopped looking for work, right? They never put into the discussion of how many people are like, you know what, I'm checked out of the job game altogether. They never have a full scope of what's going on with unemployment. But, you can see the high spike right there on the right-hand side. That was, the beginning of COVID. And there were so many layoffs then, of course, retail workers and, that kind of jobs, anything like in waitressing. A lot of people got out of work, had to leave work. They had no choice. But now, those numbers are still at record lows. But as you know, anybody that turns on the news, I mean, every time you turn it on, what happens? Every time you turn on the news, there's instantaneously saying, oh, Facebook laying off a few people, a few thousand people. And then we got, Eddie keeps scrolling across the screen. I don't know what he wants me to say. Then we got Twitter. They laid off everybody under the sun. I don't even think that was a layoff. I think they fired them. That was a layoff there. And so all those numbers, I mean, although they may seem small, look, Amazon said it plans to lay off thousands of employees, job cuts of approximately 10,000, which would start as soon as this week. We'll focus on the company's devices, organization, retail division, and human resources. This is the question I want to ask you guys, because I talked to Eddie about this, and I feel like this is all orchestrated, because not even a month ago they were looking for tons of people. Then the Fed comes out and says we're going to cut 1.5 million jobs. Amazon's getting record profits that they've never had before. A lot of these companies are, and then they decide to cut the fat all of a sudden. Like I don't know. I just feel like it's like uh, um, I don't know. I feel it's all orchestrated. I feel like they get together and they're like, "All right, how are we gonna really put these people in their place? All right, let's just cut a bunch of jobs and make everybody miserable for a few months so we can make a hell of a lot more money than we did because we didn't get tax cuts this year." Like that. I don't know. Like someone to explain that to me. Amazon's plan to re-entrench during the critical holiday shopping season, when the company typically has valued stability, shows how quickly soaring global economy has put pressure on its trim its businesses that have been overstaffed or underdelivered for years. These people have been making like hand over fist in money, like serious. Yeah, Amazon has become the latest technology company to lay off workers, which only recently had been fighting to retain. The e-commerce giant more than doubled its cap on cash compensation for its tech workers this year, citing a particularly competitive labor market. You know, I know I just smell bull crap, like massive bull crap. Um, Changing layoffs, business models, precarious economy have set off layoffs across the tech industry. Elon Musk halved Twitter's headcount this month after buying the company. Last week, Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, announced that's laying off 11,000 employees, at 13% of its workforce. Lyft, Stripe, Snap, and other tech firms have also laid off workers in recent months. And the reason this relates to the housing market, I said, if you really wanted to see numbers collapse, the only way that we would have a massive collapse of the housing market is if the job market tanks. Now, has the job market tanked yet? No. And let's just say, like everybody that's getting laid off, we see hundreds of thousands of layoffs in the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 months. People that own homes or even rent apartment complex or rent an apartment, it takes time for all of that to catch up, right? So even though those people can't pay their rent, it still takes time to evict them. Even those people can't pay their mortgage, it takes a very long time to get them through the foreclosure process. So the effects of this happening are not going to be felt for months down the road. It'll be interesting to see what 2023 has to offer at the end of next year because of these corporate layoffs. We'll have to see. Tesla's hiring. Their stock is in the tanks, but Tesla's hiring. Tesla is back to hiring after early layoff this summer. Tesla, Elon Musk alerted execs of a pause on hiring and called for a 10% reduction of staff. Okay. When the word came out that Tesla was pausing hiring and cutting staff, Musk made it clear that the story wasn't what it seemed. He noted that Tesla will be actually continuing hiring factory workers, which made sense since the automaker had just recently opened 2 new plants, one in Austin, Texas, and another one in Germany. He said that downsizing would also impact salaried staff. Though the number would remain fairly flat over time when Tesla's total headcount would increase. Teslas are still extremely popular. Like they are extremely popular cars. So I don't see them going anywhere, even though their stock is leveraged on Twitter at the moment. I don't know. I could be totally wrong for that. So who knows? All right, let's get into the other thing I want to talk about really quick, and that is the silver tsunami. Okay, so if you guys haven't heard about this, I've talked about it several times, but we're going to talk about it. The silver tsunami was something they said that was going to start about 7 years ago, and it had to relate to baby boomers selling their smaller homes or even bigger homes, downsizing and moving into other buildings, meaning that there would be a large supply of first-time, what people would consider first-time home buyers buying these houses, and that we would see a surge of these homes coming on the market, and younger millennials would be able to purchase those homes. Well, that hasn't happened, and the narrative that has been said is that you know baby boomers have been buying, not they're keeping their original house, and they're not only doing that, they're buying other homes on top of it. But they're not like painting the whole entire picture, because as much as people love to blame other generations for the downfalls of the other generation, many baby boomers have no choice, because I don't know if you've ever seen how much adult care costs. So I ran across this woman who was talking about how she was planning on selling her family home. It was completely paid off, and it was one of those things that the property taxes had increased so much that she thought, you know what, it's time for me to just go ahead and downsize and go into an over 55 community. It was one of those communities that had very limited like nursing staff if there was a problem, like you fell or whatever. It wasn't anything, it wasn't assisted living, but it was like that next step above. When she was looking to price these out, it is astronomical. Just for her to get in, she had to pay I think it was like 300,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment. And then she had to pay like 3,000 a month fee. So she was like buying this apartment, but then she was paying rent on top of the apartment, like the most astronomical HOA fees, because they had 24-hour staff, security, the whole 9 yards. And then on top of that, it was like there was all these fees on top of it. So she was like, I can't do it. And then the cost of medications right now are so high, it's unbelievable. So that's why you'll see a lot of these people that do these reverse mortgages, because they're like, I can't afford to live in my house. I can't afford to sell my house. I have nowhere to go. It's like they're trapped. And so I think that is a bigger problem, that we're not taking care of the elderly like we used to. And when I think about it, like the cost of even this, like, people are like, oh, they get Medicaid and Medicare and all this other stuff. They have to pay a supplemental insurance for that. And it doesn't cover everything. And those medications, some of them are so expensive that, I mean, I know you've heard of people that like are like, well, do I pay my rent or do I pay for medication? And then they're trying to cut down their medication. I think that's more of the issue when it comes to why these people aren't selling their homes. I do not think it's because they're like hoarding their wealth. Of course, there's a portion of people that are doing that, but the fact that we want to put all the blame on one generation, I don't think that's the case. I think it's because we're not taking care of people in general. Like everything has gotten so out of hand, even before the pandemic, with the cost of medications, medical care, housing, taxes, all of those things combined. It's like, everybody's drowning. And I just wanted to put my 2 cents in about that, because I've been really like, my brain has been sitting on that. Like that we can't blame one generation for all the other generations' problems. This has been in the making for eons. And trust me, we all have our crosses to bear, as they say. So yep. So if you have any questions or you want to make any comments about anything I've spoke about, you're more than welcome to like chime on in, because I can talk forever. Oh, look, Suzanne is there. Any advice for buying foreclosures? All right, Turtle Jones, we're going to be getting to your questions in a minute, because I'm going to be introducing you to Susanna Haney. Hello, my friend.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I love your background. Did you just put that wall up?
No. We did that a long time ago. So that's how you pay attention to me. I think
that your camera was down like this way, so I couldn't see it before. So now it's a little bit up so I can see it better. But yeah, you look lovely. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us. Sorry I didn't send you the link until like 5 minutes ago.
I clean up quick. So
yes. Yeah. So Suzanne's out of the Colorado Springs market, and she's been she's been seeing all sorts of different things in the last few months about the housing market. But we're going to get to Turtle's question right now. I'm going to jump. Eddie, go ahead and put that on the screen for me, please. It was something about foreclosures. Oh, any advice on buying foreclosures? Yes. I would strongly suggest finding a foreclosure agent in your area. So in my specific area, there's 3 brokerages that solely work on foreclosures. And you want to work with somebody that understands the whole foreclosure process and how to work with these banks that have these foreclosed homes. It is a completely different process than a traditional home sale. It takes longer. And does it take a lot longer? Well, that will depend on that specific bank. And if you work with an experienced real estate agent in that area that knows the foreclosure process, they'll let you know. They'll already know. They'll be like, that bank takes forever. If you're planning a 45-day close, you can forget about it, you know? So that's what my suggestion would be is, and then also with that specific agent, they'll also know how to pull the comps to let you know if this is going to be a good deal for you. You know, they'll let you know if this is, you know, sometimes foreclosure companies are not the best deal just because it's a foreclosure. I've seen several that have been overpriced and you're like, what are you dreaming? Like, have you seen the house? Did you walk through it? You know, this is not market rate right now. This house needs a lot of work. So yeah. So make sure you have an agent that understands those numbers. What do you say, Susanna?
Yeah, I agree with you. I have a little flashback here to 2010, 11, when all this was an issue. People thought, oh my gosh, it's going to be so great to buy a foreclosure, until they figure out, yeah, you need to fix pretty much everything on this house, and it's still overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought a foreclosure, and when we tried to refinance a couple years afterwards, we figured out that the title company actually didn't release the liens that were on the house.
Oh.
So always check on that. If if the house that
title insurance.
Well, yes, title. That's why you have title insurance. It's a very valuable lesson to learn. But I'm telling you what, it was the title company that made the mistake, which really upset me. I figured it because what they pay to release those liens to those creditors, they deduct from your insured amount, which I didn't know either. And so, they deducted that. And I'm like, wait, you made the mistake. But they didn't care. In the end, I was glad it was all done. It was $1.2 million on a $400,000 house back then. So I was sweating it. But yeah, we got it all figured out. But yes, title insurance, people. I know it's not fun to reading through that, stack of paper, or the long PDF that you're getting when you purchase a house. But if you need help, reach out to your agent, to your title person. It's important. And once you closed and you had lien on it, call, make sure everything's released.
We have somebody here from Brazil.
What?
I know. It's 6:46 p.m. there.
Hey, Brazil.
Yay. I wonder if I wonder if it's cold or warm there right now. All I know is we have I call it bipolar weather here in Louisiana. Like 2 days ago we were wearing sweaters, and today it's hot, and it was cool in the morning, so I had this thin little thing on, and now it's like 77 degrees. I'm sweating.
Colorado every day. It's we usually have like all 4 seasons in one day.
So in your Colorado Springs market, have you seen, because like we're talking about corporate layoffs and how the layoffs are going to be affecting the housing market, have you seen any businesses in your area, like big businesses, that are doing a lot of layoffs in your specific area?
Not so much.
Not so much. So has I know you were seeing some price reductions in your area. Are they continuing to go down, or are they flatlining at this point?
Inventory is flatlining, but not the average price, and I'm not quite sure what to really think of it, because we had 530,000 average sales price in September. In October, it was 532, and then in October it was 530. Well, we had a higher price actually in October at 532. So let's get that out.
Yeah.
And I was like, we have an increase in average sales price. So that was really weird. But now I just, because I knew you were going to ask, I just checked for November, and November, it looks like we're heading towards the 520. Of course, we get most of the closings this week now, so we'll see. But so far, we're at approximately 520, which is much lower than the last one.
Well, last year at this time, what were you at? Give me a roundabout.
Probably so. In October, we were only 4% up from last year. And, and with this significant, decrease in average home price, I think we're just going to be right around the 500 bubble, 510 bubble last year.
So you're about 510 last year, and you're about 520 this year.
Yeah, if again we're doing the most closings at the end of the month,
right?
Just like in your market. So sometimes we just see a little surprise there, but
that's still a slight increase, right? So that's what I've been saying, is that really, people are saying, oh, major price reductions. I mean, if you're in Austin, Texas, or Phoenix, Arizona, but most areas are like flat
compared to last year.
In comparison to last year, they're flat. Like they're not really going up, and they're not really going down. They're just kind of pushing along, trucking along. And I've always maintained we're not going to see massive price reductions in housing unless the jobs market tanks. And it's been holding steady, but I mean, anybody that opens a newspaper right now, it's not going to. And don't take I know some people take my laughing as don't take it that way. I'm laughing. I don't even know why I do it. It's kind of like, why do people laugh at a funeral? I don't know. It's one of those things. I just do it. Hi, Kristina. We're in the process. Does the locking in the rate occur before you put in an offer or after it's accepted? Please provide OL some clarity. Thanks in advance. Oh, okay. You have to lock it after you have a contract. You can't lock in a rate until you have a specific contract and a price on a house. And at any time after that contract, you're going to have to work with your lender to find out when the best time to lock in rates is. If you have a lender like I use, like Ryan LaRussa with GMFS, I've had him on here before. And when rates were kind of funky and they were all over the place there for a while, he would call people at like 3:00 and be like, you need to lock in right now because they just dipped down again. So get that lender that is just on it, that like is literally like sitting there, like watching it like the stock market. Ryan is that kind of guy. So you just need to find that person. What do you say, Susanna?
Yes, absolutely. After you go under contract, that's the only time unless you have a shop and lock, that's a possibility. Some lenders offer that. I have a question for you though. Do you guys do buy downs or 2-1 or 3-2-1 buy downs?
2-1 buy downs.
Yeah. It's what we're seeing here too. And I don't know if everybody's familiar with these buy downs. It's where you the seller is providing, and only the seller can provide a certain amount of money that is needed for this buy down, where the first year you pay 2% under your actual interest rate, and then the following year you pay 1%, and then the third year just a regular price. I think the nice thing about it is if you get usually it can be substantial. So 10,000, 20,000, I've seen 25,000 already, that sellers are paying for their buyers. But, the nice thing is, first of all, it does not apply to the seller's concessions that are limited by, several lenders, loan products. And if you refinance, you actually get that money credited to you, whatever is left over. And I think that's great versus a buy down. If you refinance, that 10,000, 15, 20,000 is gone. So
I will caution anybody though, that if you're hoping that interest rates are going to go down in order for you to be able to afford your house and you're scraping by, don't buy a freaking house. Don't do it. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible plan.
Yes.
So just be cautious. Don't if you're feeling pushed or pressured into a loan product in order for you to be able to afford a home, then walk away. It's just not worth it. Totally not worth it.
Yeah.
We've seen that recipe before and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So.
And a good lender will qualify you for the actual interest rate, not for the buy down interest rate.
100%. And like, if they, I don't know, if they start doing crazy stuff to get you to buy a house, that's just bad. I mean, I've seen it. You've seen it. I've heard people talk about it. I've seen people on freaking YouTube say some stuff and I'm like, ooh, that was gross and slimy, like, ugh.
Creative financing, right? That makes people come
all
in.
of us go through creative financing, but it's usually because we've already been in a house and we're like trying to keep it. My husband, during the last housing crash, I was a brand new like real estate agent in this area, like I didn't know anybody. I had no business. My husband lost his job and we had 2 small children in daycare. And I'm like, oh, I mean, talk about creative financing, man. I learned how to split a penny 4 ways to Sunday.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
And I made it work to get that payment done. But
yeah, well, when I mean, creative financing, I mean like really crazy financing,
Well,
so.
Yeah. And don't let them say to you, well, the interest rates are definitely going to go down next year, so you can refinance again. They can't say that. Like they have indicators that suggest that it might go down to 5% next year, but that doesn't mean that it's going to do it. And I wouldn't count on that as the point where you are like, well, if it goes down and we can refinance, don't count on
gambling.
That. It is gambling. Big time. Even Amazon is canning warm bodies for robo workers. This is another problem. This is true. Robo workers. This is the way things have been going for many years. Yes, this is true. And I don't know if you guys remember, was his name Andrew Wang? Was that his name?
Mm-hmm.
He was running for president. And he said one of the biggest problems that we're facing heading down the road is automation, because so many people are going to be losing their jobs. If you think about it, they've even designed truck drivers, cars now, the big trucks, they're designed them to basically run on their own, because people that live that have that as a business, they only can ride so many hours. But if you had an automated shipping truck that could just ride down the road by itself, then you wouldn't have to worry about them, and it could save them money, which is terrible, because that's what makes America run, so it's like, it's a catch-22. Yeah. It's really terrible.
Wasn't that also his platform to justify the universal income or something like that?
That was one of his ideas. Yeah, it was one of his ideas. I don't even know where I saw him on. I think it might have been years ago, maybe on Joe Rogan or something, and I was listening to him talk. But not that I was going to vote for the guy, but I thought what he was saying was interesting. Like I was like, wow, that really totally makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Amazon Go, the artificial intelligence stores you need to know about. Oh, well, they have you can go into some of the Whole Foods now, and all you do is put stuff in the basket and walk out. Amazon Go is where where the physical and digital retail world merge to give customers a unique cashierless shopping experience. Amazon's concept convenience store opened in Seattle in January. Amazon Go features rather traditional grocery store layout and sans checkout counters. Yeah, so you put the thing in, you put your product in the cart, and as soon as you put it in the cart, it automatically scans it. When you take it out of the cart, it will take it out of the thing. And at the end, as you're walking towards the front, all you do is scan it across the cart, and you're already done.
Have you been?
No. But I'm always fascinated by I'm always watching.
Oh, it would feel so weird to me, not just
I feel like I'm
out. I'm like, I got something.
I don't even like the automatic you cash yourself out. I always make eye contact with the person, like I'm scanning every single item. Like I'm not stealing. Dom's Barbarian Bicep says, Kristina and team, hope y'all had a great gobble day. Did you see the United Furniture sent out layoff notices to employees during the night? I did see that. They're not the only ones. There were a few who did it right over Thanksgiving. Did it in an email. How gross is that? How gross is that? Look at this.
Wow.
United Furniture Employee Company wide termination tore me apart.
That's pretty chicken.
Yeah, and she was looking forward to the big family Thanksgiving when Tora Neal got the text, and that she got a text. She got a text. The mother of four was losing her job along with everyone else in her company.
Wow.
The text said that we were being terminated and all our benefits, including health insurance, were being terminated effective immediately. Wow.
Wow.
I had a bad breakdown right on the spot. Thought, what was I going to do? And that story, I think, is going to repeat itself going into all the way through 2023. And that's what I think is going to affect. And I've been saying this, the only way the home prices could tumble to the ground is if the job market tanks, because if people don't have a job, they can't pay for their houses. But the effects of this are not going to be felt for a while. We're not going to see foreclosures and short sales and all that stuff. It's going to take a while for even everybody to lose equity in their homes to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Because they have like tons, like 41%, like the most equity they've ever seen in history is in people's house.
And Black Knight just came out with this report where they said that, there's like 90% of all mortgage holders have a lower rate than 5%. So, people are like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to stay here, which is going to be part of the problem, I think, for next year with lower sales rates, because people just don't want to move, and I don't blame them.
I don't blame them
because of that. So, we still have a buyer demand, but with the affordability being so low, it's just tough. So I don't know if you saw that, but Freddie Mac just came out with their predictions to include 2024.
Really? No,
yeah.
I didn't see that. Eddie could probably find it and pull it up.
Yeah, and that was I wouldn't even dare to go towards 2024, but their predictions were that next year is going to be fairly dire according to them, and then it's going up again in 2024. I think it's way too early. It's like trying to look for the weather more than 10 days out.
As crazy as this housing market's been for the last 3 years, I've never would have, nobody could have predicted the way it was going to turn out. Family member Heather has a question. It says, family member has a reverse mortgage with a sizable equity. Can they pull money out for buying land or real estate? That would depend on what kind of reverse mortgage they have and how much they've tapped into it. You would have to talk to their lender to see what they can do with their specific reverse mortgage. Everybody's got a different kind of package when it comes to that, and the specifications and repayments and all this other stuff. I've just seen more and more people recently. People that have had those reverse mortgages for a while, I've seen more and more of them lose the home after they've passed, like they never went to any kind of family members, whether it had equity or not, because of the type of reverse mortgage that they got. So if your family is doing this, really look at the fine print of that reverse mortgage and see if there is equity left, if it goes to the remaining family members or, in the will, or does it go back to the mortgage company and they get, basically 30,000 or whatever equity that they just swallowed up because they had a reverse mortgage. Just be very careful on the type of reverse mortgage that you get. I've yet to seen anybody I don't know. Every time I've seen anybody's family member that had that pass away, they lose the whole entire house.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't. I mean, I haven't done too many of those, but I haven't seen, too many benefits and the feedback. I mean, and again, like you mentioned, reverse mortgages. There are all kinds of different, products out there, but
millions of different products.
Personally, I have yet to hear somebody be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did that." But everybody has different opinions.
Even though, I will say this, even though I've known people that have done it and they weren't able to save their family's house, went back to the mortgage company, it was the one way that they were able to keep their mom in their house, and she was able to afford to stay there without, having to go to a nursing home and stuff like that. So it was a benefit for her, In the end, it was a wash. Nobody, there was no generational wealth built from that specific property, but at least she was able to stay in her home all the way.
And that's what matters.
Her life. Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's what matters. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, I get that.
So Eddie's got something he's going to throw on the screen. Mortgage rates expected to fall to 5.4% in late 2023. Banking group projects. Yeah, this was the article I had last week that was talking about, it was Mortgage Bankers. Yeah, Mortgage Bankers Association. They were saying that next year, at the middle of the year, they're going to see, mortgage rates in the 5s again. And when I had Ryan LaRussa on here, he said that in his circle of people, that's what their scope is too. They've been saying it's going to be in the 5s next year. But again, it's always a crapshoot, they say that, but
But when it goes down to the 5-ish area, that's when people are going to jump in, because all of a sudden 5 sounds really good.
No matter what market we're in, though, no matter what market you're in, those homes that are considered the first time home buyers homes are always the ones that will continue to sell. They are always the hot button item. I've had people on here that have showed the statistics in their area, and the homes that have taken the biggest deductions are the homes with the biggest rooms and the priciest houses. Those little 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses, they have maintained, if not gone up in price continuously, even in the markets that have slowed the most. Those little starter homes are so red hot because we just don't have enough of them. We just don't.
What I think is interesting too is, everybody says, oh my gosh, houses are staying on the market so long. Actually, I have run into multiple offers over the last few weeks. And it was always for houses that were in top condition, actually, regardless of pricing, but in top condition, well staged. I mean, and of course, appropriately priced. But people came in with multiple offers, and we had to compete like in the old days, like 4 months ago, right? So if you do it right, you still have multiple offers out there. And I know I have buyers looking, but they just can't find anything that they like. So funny, a friend of mine said, it's kind of like buyers are in the 2008 through 2010 era, and sellers are still stuck in 2021, where they could just put everything on the market.
I think they're coming back to reality, though. If a couple months ago, they were kind of still, their heads were in the clouds, thinking some sellers are just idiots. They have these pie in the sky dreams, and you're showing them the numbers. They're like, you don't know, just put it up there, make the list price this. And you're like, oh, okay, but you're not going to sell it at that. And they're like, how come we're not getting any showings? You're not advertising. Oh, you want to see what I've done, sir? Your price too high. Like I told you, you should have been here,
Yeah, we don't even look at solds, because those are anywhere between 4 and 8 weeks old, or older even. And we actually just call the ones that are under contract and say, so how much do you go under contract for? And that, determines what we're going to list at. So.
Yeah. S. Stewart says, I verify insurance for a hospital. Medicare costs more than people realize. It's not free. That is true. And Medicare Part B income-based premium starts at $170 a month. Supplemental gap is $150 to $500 a month. Part D is $60 plus. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you have your insurance, then you have the supplemental insurance, because you have to have it. And then there's this loophole. They don't cover everything. And then you add the cost of some of these medications, which is another thing that blows my mind, right? So let's just say amoxicillin. We get amoxicillin and it costs us $5. You go, anywhere else in the whole entire world, it costs $1. Why do we foot the bill? That's not, don't say research, because amoxicillin's been around since the dawn of time, since we've been curing stuff. That's it. Why do we always have to pay more? Any kind of medication, everything that we take, we pay double, triple what other countries pay for it. Oh, that just drives me crazy.
So a friend of mine actually said that it was because there's so many, people that are in between, in that chain, that sales chain, and everybody is taking. And so by the time it gets to the consumer, it's $5. And it kind of sounds plausible. That makes sense.
We need a revamp.
Oh, yeah.
The healthcare system needs an enema. The whole insurance thing needs an enema. I love that Debbie put this up here. This is so funny. Debbie put this up there right away. I said that live streams are opinions expressed by licensed real estate agents. Yeah, these are just opinions. You can have your own. Yeah. Thank you, Debbie. Question: do you see more buyers factoring in utility cost type of heating in their new home purchasing now? First-time home buyers are very alert to how much things cost. I will honestly say first-time home buyers today are much more educated than they've ever been when it comes to purchasing a house. And they want to know everything. They want to know how much the taxes are. They want to know how much the neighborhood has increased. They want to know how much utilities are. They want to know what is their highest bill they've ever had and why. I mean, they are super, super educated. And they have been for like honestly, the last 3-4 years. What do you say?
Oh, absolutely. And rightfully so. I mean, I remember when we bought, our first home, gosh, we were 23, 24. We had no clue what we were doing. We solely depended, on the real estate agent and so
not all agents are cut the same.
So yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy. I'm glad they asked because the more they know, I think it helps them to make better decisions. And that's what I want people to do. I want them to be able to make the best decision for themselves. And if that means that, I help them pull all the utilities and phone costs and interwebs and whatever. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. I love it.
Yeah, remember, the first-time home buyers are payment driven. So they literally know how much they can afford to pay per month.
Mm-hmm.
So, whenever they are factoring that all in, they're like, okay, my payment for my house is this much.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, I only can pay X amount for this for my utilities before I'm in over my head. And a lot of listing agents, I don't know if it's prevalent in your area, but in our area with the listing itself, it will have a sheet that the seller has filled out on how much their average bills are. And you can even ask them to give you, if you're really interested in the house, you can ask the sellers to give them a copy of their, bill, just so they can see how much it really truly is.
No, we don't have that, but it happens all the time that the buyer's agent calls and says, hey, what are the utilities? Can you shoot over something? And it does happen, but we're not required to disclose that officially.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. But I think
we're not required to. They just do it.
Oh, yeah. But it's not
part of the listing package.
Oh, really?
All the forms that you get,
Yeah.
Just throw it in there.
Oh, very good. No, we need to get on
do
that.
This.
Yeah, but you do have a seller's property disclosure, right? Where the sellers.
Oh, we have to. Yeah. And it's all the same. It used to be that every parish had a different property disclosure. So in Louisiana, we have, instead of having counties, they call them parishes.
Mm-hmm.
And every single parish had a different property disclosure. Years ago, they changed that, and it was one universal property disclosure. Thank God.
Yeah.
And purchase agreement too. Purchase agreements are also different in each parish.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah.
Terrible.
How long is your just real quick? Sorry, guys, we're going off on a rant. How long is your contract?
It depends, like how you print it out. It could be 7 or 9 pages. It depends if you do it letter or.
Okay, then we win 17.
we were kept tacking on more stuff, and then they reduced it all just recently.
Yeah, so. I wish we could. Yeah, shorten it too, but. Is what it is. It's a good one, so I'm not gonna fuss about it.
It used to be 1 page. Our purchase agreement used to be 1 page, front back. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore. Fine. Lawyers got involved.
Yeah,
they're like, "What are you doing? You're opening yourself up for a lot of liability. Here you go. Here's a new one." So anyways, let's get to your next questions. Well, we were sitting here rambling about purchase agreements.
Yeah,
And you know
sorry,
what?
guys.
That just brings me to a point though. When it comes to purchase agreements, you need to really work with somebody, a real estate agent that understands the purchase agreement immensely. If
Ah!
they cannot explain to you every single paragraph, like, because honestly, they read like stereo instructions. So you want them to, first of all, read you that paragraph and then bring you the cliff notes to what that paragraph actually means, and like they should be highlighting key points of that contract to you so you understand what you're signing. If they cannot break down that contract for you before you even have signed an actual contract, walk away. Walk very briskly. Say, okay, thank you,
Run.
and walk away, because that is the most important thing as you as a purchaser need to protect you. If they have no idea what they're doing and filling in blank spots in that contract, you're setting yourself up for a heartbreak, especially if you're trying to back out of a contract that didn't work out and they didn't fill out that contract correctly or didn't understand the verbiage in it.
And that
So,
goes for all forms, by the way.
yes.
What is the responsibility, the liability? What does this mean? What does that mean? Yeah, I've seen other agents that just kind of send over the offer and say, please review and sign. And that you need to know what you're signing and what the process is and so on. That might have happened because of the way the market was mainly. At the beginning because it was so fast and people were just trying to get offers in. I mean, once you've explained it the first time, then the second time, probably it's less and less and less. I mean, when at the eighth offer, I had clients tell me, yeah, we want this contingency and, this appraisal gap. I mean, they knew what they were doing. So, but those first few times you just have to explain everything. And rightfully so. This is your biggest investment. You might as well know what you're doing.
Well, I don't know if you've ever like been into or seen like an arbitration between clients when it comes to sales contract, and it always comes down to like, there was an addendum here and they didn't sign here and all these addendums and everything, and it all came down to this one thing: what was on the original contract.
Mhm.
Because like dates were messed up on this, and timestamps were on this addendum, and they had so many addendums, but when it all came down to it, it was the golden ticket. The main thing was what was on the original contract.
Mhm.
And so that, I mean, you got to fill that out right. You got to work with an agent that understands that. Yeah.
Yeah. And 17 pages, I mean, accidents happen. So even when and I tell people, if it's not in writing, it didn't happen. So if you tell me, hey, we're going to do this and this and that, and you don't get an amendment to the contract, you yell at me, you scream at me because something you didn't, technology went wrong, I went wrong, something happened. But if it's not in writing, it didn't happen. So, that's the other thing too. You need to make sure, I think, that the buyer or the client has some sort of responsibility as well. I mean, we're a team, we're working together on that. And that's how I think it should be.
Yep. All right. So I think Eddie has fallen asleep. So I'm going to go throw up the next question. Mia's mommy says, question, in Beauregard Parish, we have the second highest amount of vets living in our area. Homes and new builds tend to be priced and marketed towards them. Any advice for a civilian buyer? There shouldn't be any difference in buying a home no matter where you live. Like if I was to live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, they don't like if you were using they might be marketing houses towards vets because they know so many people want to use their VA loan, but that doesn't mean you can't use an FHA loan or a conventional loan to buy a house in your area. I just would work with a experienced real estate agent in your area and to help you get into a house. It doesn't, like, an offer is an offer, right? And the amount that people are willing to put in for that offer is what always wins. Money talks, and very rarely can you, sometimes you can pull on heartstrings a little bit. And they'll say, well, I'm a vet and I want to buy this house. And the other, their offer was a little bit less, but so, it just depends. I think if you work with a experienced real estate agent, you'll be fine. What do you say, Susanna?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, conventional loans have their advantages too. And the listing agent will explain, hopefully, all of that to the seller, especially when there are multiple offers coming in. When you have a VA loan, there could be extra costs for the seller.
The
Cost,
time.
financing cost,
Mm-hmm.
appraisal. There could be conditions that are
Mm-hmm.
coming in that would never come in through conventional loan. So, it's in the end, it's up to the seller, but the seller needs to have everything, kind of laid out for them. But I don't think you need to do anything different. I mean, it depends on your market. If it's highly competitive, like we had, there's certainly some things that your agent can do to help you, to make you look, more appealing. But otherwise, yeah, there shouldn't be a difference.
Nope. But you're right though about the conventional loans. Like a seller who's working with an experienced real estate agent will say, even though this may look like more money on the surface, this conventional loan is going to close you a lot faster. So do you want to close in 10 days or do you want to wait the 45 days? And they're like, I don't know. I really want to get out of here. So they'll end up going with the conventional. So
yeah, I mean, there are several factors that
right.
count, into that decision. But you're right, and again, it's very much the seller's preference.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Killian one says, heck, at some shopping clubs, all you can do is scan the item. When you take it off the shelf, hit pay by your phone and just walk out of the store. At the door, they count your items when you're done. I don't like that.
I've never experienced that.
I like talking to the person behind the counter that's scanning my stuff. I like saying hello to them. I like making them laugh. I like human interaction. If I've decided to get in my car, get dressed, do my hair, put on makeup, I want to see people and be able to entertain them, I can't help myself. Can't help myself.
I don't blame you. I like it too, actually. Especially when they still process everything quickly. But yeah, I do too. I like talking to people, but maybe that's why we're in real estate and we're on here now, because we like to talk, right?
Who knew? Who knew that I like to talk? Today's my dad's 84th birthday.
Oh, wow. Today. Happy birthday, Dad.
I know. There's all these, we had our anniversary last week. Then it was Thanksgiving. That's my dad's birthday. It was before that, it was my mom's birthday. So October to January is all these.
Oh, wow.
Stuff. Turtle Jones has a questions. Any suggestions for avoiding getting ripped off when dealing with a contractor out of state in a smaller market? Do you have any suggestions there?
Well, so that all depends on your situation. Are you dealing with that yourself, or do you actually have an agent? So for example, I have a seller. He lives in Nebraska and he is working on, getting his house cleaned up. And every once in a while he calls up and he says, hey, I have a contractor that I approach. So I do some extra research for him. And I say, well, I have this contract. So I help him manage this. I'm the boots on the ground, basically.
Right.
And I can help him verify. I can deal with everything with everybody here while he's up there. If you're dealing with somebody, while you're out of state, that's tough. I mean, hopefully you get somebody that has some really good reviews on Angie's List or whatever. In the end, many times I have experienced that whatever you paid for, if you're out of state, might not be exactly what you wanted when you're not there. So I would suggest find somebody, a trusted person that can kind of check on the work.
That's what I would tell you. I would hire somebody outside to make sure, they're like, oh, the shingles got delivered today. Send somebody over there to make sure the shingles got delivered today. Oh yeah, we definitely got it all framed up. Well,
yeah, right.
Take a picture.
It's clean. Not so much.
Yeah, and I would ask if you're not working. I would ask people in the area about the reputation of this specific person. I would definitely look for any kind of Google reviews. I would even like look, just Google News, that person's name, because you can find all sorts of stuff. And it may not be related to contracting itself. It may relate to something else, but that might change your personal decision on using that specific person.
I mean, there's the BBB as well, and Yellow.
That can be skewed, though. The Better Business Bureaus can.
That's
used to be good. I've seen some skewed stuff on there, so I don't know. I don't know if they pay to get it better or whatever. Erica Roman says, picked up 10 tabs migraine medications retail for over $1,000. If you get it at the hospital, it does.
Wow.
Yeah, if you get it at the hospital, it does. Having worked for a pharmaceutical company, I've learned that we pay the higher cost on prescriptions so that third world countries can have vaccinations. I don't buy it. I don't believe it for a hot minute. Not at all. Have you seen the record profits? Those people are like Scrooge McDuck. Like they're diving into money. I mean, and every time. And then when they get in front of like Congress and stuff and they're asked, they're like, well, and they can't even justify it. But nobody says anything. Nobody does anything about it. We just continue to do it. We just continue to hand out money. It's just, like, because you got to have the medication. What are you going to do? Those companies are making sick amount of money off of our health.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we hear at least. I think it's by state. At least we have a cap on insulin.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I think some states have had a cap on it. Onyx says, that's it, Smalls. You have two choices. You either show traffic eyes or show bottoms up to you. It's from a movie. It's from a movie. It's a quote from a movie. Everybody always says that to me. I have some clients that whenever I call them, they're like, you're killing me, Smalls. Hello, Jeremy Knight with Austin, Texas. We actually were talking about Austin, Texas for a brief moment because somebody brought up Tesla and how they are rehiring again over there in Texas. Amana Ambient says, how do you deal with a stubborn seller? Ooh. Was listed 7 months ago at top of the market, but refuses to lower along with the local market conditions.
He's not serious.
Not serious. There are sellers that like to test the market, and every single seller, I love them, but most of them think they're sitting on a gold mine. Most of them, they're like, but my house is special. It's more special than the one down the road because we painted the inside. My house is more special because we have 3 centimeter granite instead of 1 centimeter granite. Like they always think that because they put this extra bit in, that their house is more special than the one down the road. Time will put him in perspective, but if he's unwilling to come down on his price, you're just going to have to find another one, because you can't deal with people that are unrealistic. Even when you show them hard facts, hard numbers, because data doesn't lie, and they're still unwilling to come down, then you're wasting your own time. That's basically where that comes from.
Yeah, I love to hear those words. Oh, we don't have to sell. Don't. We don't have to sell. I'm like, oh, well, good for you. Don't list it. So, but so just wanted to kind of tell you an interesting story about this guy that, the seller that lives in Nebraska. So how I actually contacted him was really interesting. I don't know. Did you get any any scams, like trying to sell land?
I do all the time. That's why I tell people to be very careful.
And it's not the seller. It's
correct.
Just somebody else had somebody come in like that. And so I found out, who the real seller is. So I called him up and ended up talking to the son. And the son's like, we're not selling. But, we live in Nebraska. We just can't check, And so 2 months after we had talked, he called me up and he said, hey, my dad, who owned the land, just passed away and we'd like to list the property. And so I did my research, and sure enough, some other realtor actually listed that property, that piece of land. And so everything just went haywire. I cannot emphasize enough to put Google alerts in for any property you own, and put the quotation marks around it so you don't get random notifications.
Mm-hmm.
But super important. Somebody will sell your property.
Yeah. Well, and I saw somebody from Massachusetts. Hi there, friend. I'm from Massachusetts originally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kevin said, any suggestions for a buyer interested in finding a home where the seller has the FHA mortgage possible to assume? Okay, here's the thing. In the listing agreement, it will say in the notes that the mortgage will be assumable. And in some MLSs, you can check that off as assumable. But just know this. If the seller has an assumable loan and they only owe $100,000 on it, right? And the house now sales price is 200,000. Do you have 100,000 to dish out? Because you're not going to be able to, unless you're planning on getting a second mortgage, and then you're going to be paying high interest rate on 100,000. It's not going to work out that way because you're assuming one mortgage. So that's going to take a hit on your credit score. You're going to have to come out of pocket for what's remaining that's paid to the seller because you're only assuming the amount that he already owes.
Yeah. Yep. And it takes much longer to close because those banks really don't have any incentives to
assume that
do the work, just like with a short sale.
There's nothing short about a short sale, by the way. They've streamlined the process, but they really hate doing them. Back in the last housing crash, those short sales, there was nothing short about them. They would take months, lots of paperwork, lots of confirmations, lots of conversations. Nobody would talk to you on the phone. You had to do every single piece by fax. Everything was by fax. And I'm like, oh my gosh, let's dust this thing off. I mean, we were still using fax machines, but not like that. That was insanity. By the end of that, by 2010, they had it where you could upload the documents, but, you didn't necessarily have to fax them in. You could upload them to a specific portal, and you had a person, a counselor, advisor that would speak to the buyers and to the sellers to get the thing closed. And they had streamlined the process, especially with those bigger banks, like, your Wells Fargo's, Bank of America's. They finally made it easy, but they were the most difficult when the short sales.
Yeah, those big banks. Yeah,
they were terrible. And before you even decide to do a short sale or a foreclosure or anything like that, talk to your lender first. Don't automatically assume that that's it. Your life is over with. Talk to your lender first, because you may be able to restructure your loan in some way that you could be able to afford the payment and pay the house back. Just don't make sure you knock down all the walls before you decide to give up, before you throw in the towel, especially if you're wanting to save your home. There's much more opportunities now to save your house than there has been in years past. Just want to put that out there.
Yep. And then, depending on what the situation is, you might actually not qualify for a short sale. So that's something else that you should determine, or, have somebody, an agent, help you determine. There are options out there, and absolutely, and don't just fall for the scammer because they offer you an easy out,
Yeah, and don't accept calls from your bank. Don't do that. If your bank's calling you and saying, "Hey, we want to talk to you about your mortgage," no, don't say okay. And then you go to their website, and then you find their actual number, and then you call them. Don't take any phone calls from your bank. It's the same for your taxes. The IRS doesn't call you on the phone. That never, ever, ever happens. Just FYI. And they've gotten so sneaky now. They'll send you text messages. They'll send you text messages that this is your bank. We're alerting you right away because of such and such, and it's not even a real thing.
Yeah.
Killian once said, Eddie Smallhorn. So you all going to be looking at a diamond anniversary in 50 years or so? Yes, we had an anniversary last week.
Oh, how long?
I said that we were married in 98. Comes to find out we were married in 99. So it's 23 years, and we bought ourselves the most romantic gift in the whole entire world. Do you know what our gift was?
What is it?
we bought ourselves one of those vacuums that mops the floor. So we have the robot that suck up all the cat fur. And then at night we have the mopper that mops the floor. So every time we wake up in the morning, they're
a Roomba. Right, is it a Roomba?
It's it's by Shark. It's a Shark. So I'm like, and Eddie, it was so funny because I'm thinking that guy's not gonna love this. He's like, I just love this thing. Look at him. He's like, I could walk around and I feel nothing on my feet. This is amazing. So he's just as tickled with the thing as I am. That's marriage right there. Onyx has a question. Can we see your bright eyes close up, Smalls? So these are my real eyeballs. I don't know if you can see. They are my real eyeballs. Let's see if I can get a little one.
Yeah, no.
Nope. Yeah, those are them. They're my real eyeballs. I got a little yellow, a little green in there. Oh, Kristina. I have no shame.
So good.
Well, we didn't get really into the silver tsunami a little bit, but we did talk about, how that isn't just necessarily baby boomers that are taking over the world, that have ruined it for future generations, because that is the narrative they love to put out there. But I have changed my viewpoint on that. I think it's people that are financially, they can't, no other choice. They can't afford to move anywhere else. They're stuck. They're stuck in their house. So, yeah. Thank you, moderators, that keeping the chat clean. I saw some racy comments try to come through the chat, and I appreciate you guys being quick on the draw there. I also want to say thank you to our super chatters today, because all those little super chats help with the channel. All the little things that you see with new cameras and lights and stuff like that. Every time that you guys super chat, it goes right back into the channel, so I can provide you guys new content. Susanna, thank you so much. I'm so sorry that I did not get a hold of you sooner. I got so wrapped up with my new kitty. I was so excited. Eddie, want to throw the kitty up there real quick? Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. They were scanning my eyeballs so they could do my retinal scan to get into my security. This is our new kitten. We just got this now 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago. And they posted it on Facebook. And my dad texted me and goes, "Did you get another cat?" And I'm like, "How did you know?" I wasn't even gonna tell him, but they put it on Facebook.
How many cats do you have?
This will be our fourth cat. And then I have two other cats that, like, my daughter went off to college and took Marcel, who was the original cat who got us stuck on cats. And then she has a roommate and he has a cat. So
wow.
Yeah. So in total, we have 6 cats. 2 of them don't live with us. We're off at college.
Okay, so I have some a way to go to catch up with you.
Yeah. I have 3 dogs too.
You just win all the way.
I'm a pet person. I love animals so much. They make me cry. So.
Oh no, I do too. But I'm very cognizant of how much time I have to spend quality time with them. And for me, I just want to make sure I can focus. Well, I can focus only on one.
I don't know. They're always around us. Yep. Question. I own my own home in North Carolina. No mortgage. Location is best. The house needs some repairs. Should I sell now, or do you need to sell? If you need to sell, then sell it. But just I know that just put in the factors of what repairs your house needs. If you're looking for a real estate agent in your area and you don't happen to have one, you can always visit my website at KristinaSmallhorn.com, and I can connect you with a real estate agent in your area that can help you price your home. So, Susanna, thank you so much. Thank you, moderators. Thank you to the chat. There was over 350 of you here today, and I appreciate everybody spending the time with you. This is my website. You can just hit one of those pink buttons, fill out a form, and I'll get a hold of you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Sunday. If you have any suggestions on what you want me to talk about next Sunday, put it in the comment section below after this video is done. This live stream is done. Thank you. Bye. Hey guys. Have you put out your tree yet?
No, we're going Christmas tree hunting next Sunday.
Eddie's got something else going. Smoosh the like button. Debbie even says so. We got our tree. No lights on it because I was afraid the cats would eat it.
Oh, wow. Yes.
It's plastic ribbon. A little baby tree.